The following program is for mature audiences only. The views expressed by the people and other guests on the podcast are their opinions and their own and don't reflect the institutions or establishments that they work for. So please do not get our asses fired or canceled. Thank you very much. Enjoy the show. What's going on, Glad Gang? It's Jay Whitaker. Welcome back to Glad You Made It podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's been a minute. Had a productive February. Hope this year is keeping you bright, keeping you strong, keeping you healthy, keeping you motivated. I've had a problem with bandwidth, low bandwidth, high stress, but we're keeping it all together. Sometimes you have these moments of low bandwidth and you're like, I have no room for anything. I want to sleep. It is late right now as I'm recording this. And I had to record the intro and I was just like, damn. But I miss talking to y'all. I miss checking in. I've had a wonderful amount of shows. I'm going to be at the Riot Comedy Festival in Houston, Texas, at the end of March. So go to Riot Festival or riotcomedyfest.com, I believe, and check me out there. What else I got coming up? I forget my own damn schedule. I'm going to be at McHugh's Comedy Club in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Never been to Portsmouth. Want to see what's going on up there. So come rock with me then, April 7th, April 8th. You know, going to have some more shows coming up. You're going to see me in a specific region working over the summer. We'll get into that maybe in a couple episodes, but I'm excited about our guest that we have in today. We got Amma Marfo in the house. Amma Marfo just dropped a new special, her first ever special, Enjoy Your Nachos. You may be familiar with her from the New England scene. She's done the Rogue Island Comedy Festival, the NYC's Black Women in Comedy Laugh Fest, the LA's Laugh Riot Girl Fest, and the Toronto's Far From Here Festival. So we got New England, NYC, LA, Toronto, the T-Dot, 6666666. I always wanted to do that. And the co-producer and co-founder of FOD Ball Productions. What is FOD? F-O-D? We'll get into that. Make sure you listen to the episode, but give it up for my Stanley cousin. Listen to the episode. Amma Marfo. Please to enjoy. Hey everybody, welcome to Glad You Made It podcast. It is I, Jay Whitaker. I'm back in the studio after a miniature hiatus, but I have a wonderful guest that I had the opportunity to work with during the pandy on Zoom. That's how we originally met, but we finally got a chance to do a show together over the weekend, and it was like, I was like, girl, where you been all my life?
And I was like, that's how tall you are? You can never tell on Zoom.
Yeah, I'm 6'1", 6'2" when I feel confident. But ladies and gentlemen and everybody else that came to listen, we got Amma Marfo in the house. How are we feeling today?
I'm good. I regret not wearing my lightning hat since you're wearing your king's hat.
Yeah, I had to pull up. So, okay. All right, since you addressed it, we'll get right into it.
Get into it, man.
Like, to me, this was one of the, and I'll have to, maybe I should throw the clip in post, but my goodness. So we had the chance to do a show together at the Rockwell Theater. And is that Somerville, Boston? I don't know.
It's Somerville, Davis Square, okay. Somerville.
Okay, so yeah, sorry for all you New Englanders that listen. Yeah, I'm still very West Coast and still don't know where anything is yet. But I noticed she was wearing a Stanley Cup hat, but it was black and silver, like LA Kings color. So I'm thinking, I'm like, yo, are you a LA Kings fan? And you said,
I said this was like the color scheme that Fanatics sent me. So it is a Lightning Stanley Cup Champions hat, but the patch fell off at some point. But I think they just have like a finite number of colors and then they just put whatever patch applies. But it looks like, I can see where it would look like a Kings hat. The color schemes are similar.
So we immediately like look at each other like, oh shit, are we black hockey fans?
Look at us.
Look at us. Like, I know we exist, but when you when we meet, it's like, nah.
I think it's us, Retta, and Drake. I believe.
I believe so.
and Retta's a Kings fan, so
there we go. But so then we started talking about like I guess we kind of sized each other up on our fandom. I'm not sure what happened, but we both have had the pleasure of drinking out of the Stanley Cup.
And I didn't show you the tattoo either, but I have a lightning bolt on my wrist.
Oh my goodness. This is wild. This is wild.
It's serious. It's serious.
Yeah. So just so you know, we are as close to hockey greatness. If you're a diehard hockey fan, and we're recording this on Black History Month, Twilight Women's History Month Eve. So this is history right here.
This is my time. My time.
How was your Black History Month, by the way?
My Black History Month was pretty good. I will say HBO Max canceled Southside, and I was like, more Black History Month.
Right.
I'm very upset. Very upset. But other than that, I would say it's been a pretty good month.
I have to say it was it's been a good month. I did get mad that Tom Brady decided to retire or officially on the first day of Black History Month. I didn't like that. I didn't like that he took the attention away from.
And you heard the news today, though, too.
Yeah,
right?
We won't even bring it up. I'm not bringing it up.
Okay, you can cut this out, but oh man.
Oh, and this was one of those days where you just like, yo, why does he do? Okay, never mind. Yep.
This is the last thing I'll say on the matter is that women, stop telling average white guys that they're funny when they're not funny. This is what happens when you do that. Stop it. Stop it. Because this is where that leads us.
Okay. Well, that's been said. And I love it. How has comedy been going for you so far? I mean, we look like, so you just released your latest project, Enjoy Your Nachos, correct? Mm-hmm. So let's talk about that. Let's get into that.
Where would you like me to start?
I mean, first of all, how do we get to enjoy our nachos?
So I started stand-up in 2016 on a dare, actually. Because I had done a little bit of sketch writing before that, but hadn't really done too much with it. And at the time was doing a podcast with a group of friends called The Imposters about creativity and all the pieces of doing creative projects and identifying as a creative person. And unbeknownst to me, the other three hosts said, we have decided you will do stand-up this year. And that was on the air in January of 2016. So in August of 2016, I did a class over the summer with my best friend and had a great time and just kind of kept going with it. I was like, I'll keep doing it for as long as it's fun. And for the most part, it stayed fun. So now here I am in 2023, releasing a special and then eventually an album. The audio will be out on streaming platforms next month. But for me, it felt like the right time to if there's a right time to put out an album. I was really happy with the arc that set had. Yeah. It was kind of contained to a specific moment in time. It had a journey, and I was like, I want to immortalize this particular arc. And that felt like the best way to do it.
That's so dope. I mean, because for those who've never put together, or if you're listening and you're not familiar with how a comedy special is put together, it is about, no pun intended, but it is about the timing. Is it cohesive? Is it about the journey? I just finished, I taped a special in August, and hopefully we're going to get it out next month or in April. But I'm with you, because I kind of was like, I have to kind of put this out sooner than later, because it's going to age out, or, I'm ready for that next chapter myself. And so did you find yourself in that process where you're just like, I feel like I've outgrown this, let's put it to bed, or was it more just like, we're done with this?
I think it was probably more of the second one. I love those jokes and would continue telling them, but I think that especially because there's pandemic related material in it, right?
Yeah,
there's sort of a shelf life on that. And absolutely. I got the sense that if I don't immortalize it now, at some point I'm going to move past it. And then all this material that I loved and that got such a good response and got a good reaction and has felt so relatable to people would kind of just age out without having the opportunity to capture it in any way.
Yeah. Now that was a big proponent of why I wanted to get you on. I mean, obviously the Stanley Cup thing
Of
is that's
course.
just like, are we Stanley cousins? Like,
I think we are.
I think like yeah, that's like I
We're
just kind
Stanley
of want to.
cousins. We should get
Yeah,
shirts. No,
I
we
know.
should get
That's why I was just. Why you think I was touching my
we should get
sweater?
we gotta get like sweaters. Like
Yeah, like Stanley
shirt.
cousins, like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, there's the name of the episode.
We did it.
No, but like, because I gotta play the audio from. I gotta find it, but I'll make sure I play the audio from that set because I recorded some of it. But
Great.
no, I'm just happy that you did that because you know I'm 12 years in, and I did my first special when I was what it was like 7 years, but I didn't really know what I was doing. But I was glad that I did it to to just move on to the next step. And now I'm like ready to do. I just did one last year, and I'm ready to do my goal is to do another one at the end of this year, whether it's just a half hour. So are you? Is this just like? Do you have a bunch of material in the tank? Like, are you working through new stuff now?
So I'm working through new stuff now. Well, first let me say I am right at 7 now. So
Okay.
I'm about the spot where you were when you did your first one.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, it's not as though I believe like once something's recorded you can't do it anymore, but I do kind of like the challenge of like finding new material that I could weave in with existing stuff.
Yeah.
And it's intimidating because it's like I know how to write jokes. I've done it. I've been doing it for a long time, but like once you've burned off some of the stuff you like the most, and I'm not starting fully from scratch, but like pretty close, it's been really interesting to kind of learn how to rebuild.
Yeah.
And it's what I'm doing now. I have like a series on Instagram called Joke in Progress where I'm
I
like
was just about to.
documenting
Yep.
writing a new joke and kind of showing people what it looks like to have like just a line that like sticks with you and then turn it into a joke and then like showing people where I spiral and I'm like, none of this is funny. What do I do? And it's been really interesting for accountability for one, but also to just
Hmm.
kind of like show people how I write and learn how I write because it kind of differs every time.
Yeah. I think that first of all, that just the transparency of that process, like I applaud you because one, I'm like, I wish I saw when I saw you put that together, I was like, oh shit, there's flow charts in this. Like, I was like, there's like a Venn diagram. You props, like all props, because I couldn't help but just like salute when I saw that because I wish I had that type of organization or discipline. You know what I mean? Because for me, I I kind of have to talk it out or and so when I put the pen to paper, it's all bullet points, and that's
Yeah.
probably just from military service and where I'm just used to being PowerPointed to death. But like I just when I saw the attention to detail, I was very just impressed just by your process. So like that's got to be liberating though to move on to the next chapter in your material.
It is, and it's been really cool to me because, like, as I started documenting it and showing it, other people are like, "Oh, I write that way too," and I thought I was the only person, or "I can't write that way. How do you
Yeah,
get yourself
right,
organized in that way?" So it's been really affirming to realize that, like, not everybody's doing this the same way, but we're all
right.
kind of on the same journey, just like doing it in different ways. But I've really liked talking to other people about their process. That's been a fun
Have
side product of it.
have you always written that way?
It kind of depends on the joke.
Yeah.
I'm like a writer by trade. Like I write for my job, have written for years.
Yep.
So longhand just comes really naturally to me.
Yep.
So there are some jokes, and I can think of one in particular. Like I have a joke in the special about when I went to space camp. And like that
You
joke.
went to space camp too?
Stop it. Did you really?
It's
Jay! Oh my God!
Yo, no, like I'm tripping right now. Like I went to space camp in like Idlewild, California. My mom sent me to that joint. That's wild.
When
My
did
mother
you
used.
when did you go?
This was like I'm an '80s baby, so this had to have been like, God, like early '90s, maybe.
Okay. So I went in 1999, and I
Oh my
talk about
God.
it. I talk about it in the joke as being like right on the heels of like Deep Impact and Armageddon. So for me, the whole thing was just like, what would Ben Affleck do in this situation? Which they
Right.
don't love when you ask that for like 6 days straight. But that was my experience.
I love that.
But yeah, so that joke, I remember I was just like, I was driving in Rhode Island. I don't even remember why I was in town, but I like had a car, was like in the parking lot at Target, and it kind of just flashed to me at once, like, this is a joke. So I stopped driving in the Target parking lot, pulled my notebook out of my backpack, and just like wrote out that first draft of it. And it's pretty close to that first draft, but
Oh,
that
wow.
doesn't always happen. Like with the one I'm working on right now, like I have a bunch of pieces that feel like they're funny, and it's like cobbling them around and moving them in order and like trying to figure out, is that just funny to me, or is that something that an audience could find funny? And I've really been wrestling with it in a way that I haven't wrestled with a joke in a while. So it's been an interesting challenge to like just stick through it. It's like, don't scrap it because it's hard. Just push through it. You will find it. It's going to be okay.
That's wild. Like, I'm one of those where I'm like, oh, yeah, this is funny. I'll totally remember this. I just want to be in the moment. Please don't get on your phone. Like, don't get on your phone. Just stay in the moment.
Yep.
And I forget it. I have forgotten some of my best material and some of the best stories or some of the best tags, best punches. I'm like, I have forgotten all of it.
And that's why, like, I kind of have like a love-hate relationship with posting things online, but like one thing that I have liked about it is I'm not shy about posting multiple versions of the same joke. So like someone will comment and be like, this phrase is funny. And I'll realize I've completely forgot I ever said it that way. And once somebody else responds to it, I was like, oh yeah, I did like that I said it that way. Let me bring that back. So I like the feedback that comes from it. Not everybody does, but that's been helpful for me.
I had a issue, like I used to do that probably my first 7 or 8 years. I was doing that all the time. And then eventually I realized I was just giving away, like every now and then you see people argue in the comments over something that you said, but then which gives you the tag or adds onto the story. Then I was just like, nah, I stopped doing it. I think it's just because I've just been avoiding social media in a way.
Yeah.
And I have less tolerance for discourse. So it's just like, I'm just like, oh no, I don't want people arguing over. I remember one time I said, I really like trail mix, and everybody lost their damn mind. It was.
On what grounds?
They started arguing over trail mix.
Like, eat it or don't. Who cares?
Eat it or don't. That's like, I just like trail mix. I mean, Dwayne Perkins, one of OG comedian from, New York.
New York, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he had a bit where he says, I like almonds. And it's a great bit. I love it. But it was kind of like me, saying, when I kind of giving a tribute to Perkins when I said that, I was like, I like trail mix, because I was thinking, I was like, I wonder if people will really argue over this shit. And they did.
So it would seem. Apparently they would. And it's challenging because I think that having stuff out there, sometimes there's like this sensitivity to giving it away, right? And for me, it's been a good exercise to kind of like push back and be like, even if it does get given away, even if it feels like you're burning all your stuff, people will see it and they'll want you to do it when you see them live.
Yeah.
And
people want that.
Yeah, so like they like seeing stuff that they know. So to me, it's not like burnt, quote unquote, once it's online. But also Rob Delaney, and I love his comedy, but I also really love like his just general writing. And he has this thing about like, be free with it. You're good enough to come up with more. It's okay. Like, even if someone takes that idea, A, they're not going to do it the way that you do it, and B, you have the capacity to build something that will probably end up outperforming it. So don't be too precious with it, I think has been a really valuable kind of lesson for me. Because I'm always panicking, like, I love this joke, I'll never write anything good ever again. And that's, so far, touch wood, not been true. So, yeah.
Well, and the best thing, and this is why I'm just excited for you, because one, you put it out, and I'm just excited for like the next 4 months. You're just going to absorb so much and without even trying. Like you'll just like you think you run out of material. Like, oh my God, I just burned an hour.
Yeah.
Like, now I got to rebuild, and watch, it'll come so quick. Like I've rebuilt. I was so nervous to put all that stuff, record it. But then a month later, I'm already like teetering at a new half hour. And I'm like, well, not a month later, but definitely a few months later, I'm like, all right, well, because there was leftovers, obviously. There was leftovers that I didn't use. So I'm like, all right, well, that's going to be added into the new set. And I'm already chilling. So I'm like, damn, I was doing the new stuff with y'all like I'm in Somerville. So that was just fun to I might talk about Black Stanley Cup shit. Like this is
I mean, I think you have to now.
Oh my God. Like I want a shirt. Yeah. That should we need a Facebook group. There's gotta be a Facebook group for Black folks that have drank out the Stanley Cup.
If it doesn't already exist, we gotta make it. My sister will join. She was also there. So
oh my God.
It'll be three of us. And then we'll get Retta, because I think she has also. Yeah, we'll make this happen.
That's wild. So originally you grew up in Boston, right?
I didn't. So I grew up in Florida. This is
South Florida.
Florida. Yeah, so it's a journey. Born in Canada.
Oh wow.
Raised for the most part in Florida, and then went to college in Rhode Island, went back to Florida for a few years, and then got to Boston in 2012 and have been here since then.
Wow. What? Okay, first of all, why Florida? I'm not hating.
Fair question. No, listen, it's a fair question, and it has become incrementally more fair over time. My dad's a professor, and he worked at the University of South Florida, so we went with him.
Yep. And then, so which do you prefer? If you're just being honest, like no state is gonna. They're not gonna kick you out of the Commonwealth. Don't worry.
I like the weather climate of Florida and the political climate of Massachusetts. Well, the political climate of Canada, but. Of my options, the political climate of Massachusetts.
That's wild. I want to go to Canada just to poke my hand on the other side. I went and I remember I visited Niagara Falls, New York, and we had a show that was there that ended up getting canceled. So we were just stuck there in Niagara Falls, New York. Now, for those who have never been to Niagara Falls, New York, that side is a city that had no plan after 1960, probably.
Thereabouts,
it is a relic. It's kind of sad. Actually, it's sad. But and then you look on the other side, you see all the Canadian people having fun, take a pic. Like it looks so fun on the other side. I was like, man, I'm all we got over here is Tim Hortons and a Rainforest Cafe.
Okay, so that Tim Hortons Cafe is there, the Rainforest Cafe is there, and on the other side there is the
TGI Fridays.
Well, there's a lot of IHOPs. I don't know why. There are like 5 IHOPs in Niagara Falls, and I genuinely wonder if like that was their way of being like, yeah, we're international. We have like 5 locations in Niagara Falls, but like on the same street there are like 4, and then there's one that's like in a tower, like a revolving IHOP. And I went, the guy that I was dating at the time, I went on family vacation with them, and I was like, I want to go to the revolving IHOP. Like that's the thing I want to do. And they're like, that's the thing you want to do? And I was like, yeah, that's the thing I want to do. So we went to the revolving IHOP, and
5 IHOPs is so unnecessary.
But that to me is like their play. They're like, yeah, we're international. We have 5 locations. Like, there's no other reason for that many in a small enough radius.
There's no reason. No. There's no reason. Somebody at corporate, that's marketing.
Yeah, they're like, is it international? And they're like, it is, and here's how we'll do it. Like,
no, that's bad, poor planning. That's bad city planning. It's bad. No, I mean, so Boston's been treating you good as far as comedy goes, and Florida treats you nice during the summer. What's your favorite city or region to perform in? Have you been getting out on the road or?
I've done a bit of road stuff. New York has treated me very well. Like around the time that I was kind of ramping back up. So like I said, I started in 2016 and I took like 6 months off in 2018 because, well, the diplomatic way of saying it is my brain broke. We'll put it that way. It was a major depressive episode. But then when I came back out, I started with the Black Women in Comedy Festival in New York in 2019.
That's dope.
And like that was like a really good time for me to kind of get back into performing. And it was a group of people that like I wasn't really sure how I was going to do, because like performing in Boston, it's like a bunch of white dudes. So I was like, how am I going to do with Black women? And it was amazing. Just everybody was so different. Everybody was so supportive. And like I've gone back to that festival now 2 more times. I'm going again in June. It's just been this wonderful community that kind of lifted me back up when I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing and nothing has been funny for 6 months and I don't know how this is going to work. So since then, I've made a lot of connections in New York. I go back and forth there a good bit and have really, really enjoyed meeting people there and finding new shows to perform on and catching up with friends that live there as well.
Right. No, so so I got to ask, because you talk about your brain broke, and I get that.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that. And then I love that you took care of yourself. And when you went back into comedy, you did it amongst people that look like you. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Did that help accelerate that whole healing process? You know what I'm saying?
It did, because I think that being able to be around people that kind of understood so many of the life experiences that I had had after just being in a place where I barely understood what was going on with me.
Mm-hmm.
It was affirming at like exactly the right time.
Yeah.
And then like, so that was like a major depressive. I don't typically deal with depression very often. My brand is usually more anxiety. So like, it was also very new to me to have to deal with that kind of challenge. Like, I know what anxious feels like. It's not great, but I understand it. And then just got super depressed and had no idea what was happening. So kind of coming back out of that and then just like being around people that are like, we got you. You're good at this. You can keep being good at this. We'll keep supporting you. It was incredible. Like I would not have the career that I have right now had I not done that festival. And I tell people that I met there all the time that.
Right. Well, and and comedy festivals are can revitalize you.
Mm-hmm.
They like, it's so, well, comedy festivals for me changed. It's the reason I moved to the Boston scene.
That's right. You mentioned that.
Yeah. And so it's amazing how, one festival in North Hollywood where I meet the homie Corey Rodriguez,
mm-hmm.
and then I see him at another one at Big Pine in Flagstaff, Arizona, which led to like a series of events. And the next thing you know, I meet my now wife, who's from Mass, while I'm in Utah, and
mm-hmm.
here I am, mortgaged up, married up, gigging on the regular, like, and I guess I'm a Boston comic. And I'm like, how the hell did that happen?
Yeah.
But it's, and that's it. I'm so happy that you knew exactly what I was talking about, because when I was kind of going on my healing journey, just being more in predominantly Black spaces, performing comedy was such a great way for me to like find my legs again.
Yeah.
Because it made me feel like, all right, well, I'm not, I don't know if maybe you can understand, but you're just like, well, if they get it, I'm gonna be all right.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And I talk about that a lot. So the group that I produce with, it's Fodball Productions. So we do shows that are predominantly for comics that are the first, only, or different on their lineups. And
I was wondering what that stood for. Okay.
Yes, first, only, different. That is where that comes from. So it's been really interesting because we did a feedback mic a couple weeks ago. We hadn't done one in a really long time. And just having people that are predominantly female or non-binary just be in a room, and you can tell that they are immensely more comfortable than I've seen them anywhere else. And they were good because of it. Like, all really talented folks, but were great to excellent because they didn't have to sit in a room where they felt like they were going to be misunderstood. Like, you cannot underestimate the value of that. And I think that in Boston, and you know this, we have so many spaces that, frankly, for people like you or I, or people that were in that room, do not provide that. So it's the challenge of being good at this, plus the challenge of being good at it in a space that, frankly, often doesn't care what you're doing. And building that space for people has been really, really rewarding, because it's like people that I wouldn't see at open mics anyway that would come to our show, and I'm like, you're amazing. Why have I never seen you before? And they're like, well, I don't like doing it the other way.
Well, and the thing is, and what I enjoyed about it was, I mean, at the end of the day, like, we got to pay bills.
Yes.
And so sometimes you're going to do a gig where you're going to be you're definitely going to be the FOD. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
100%. And so, and you're talking to an audience that does not get you. They've never seen, like, the second I tell an audience like that doesn't look like me, that I used to do comedy in Utah, they're just like, what? We don't even know what to do with you.
Mm-hmm.
And like, but when you get amongst a more diverse crowd and they already know. They already, like, they may not understand your journey, but they know, like, they understand why you were there.
Yes.
They understand. So, and it just makes the conversation easier, and you're more willing to share with that audience because you're super comfortable. So then next thing you know, you're sharing, you're giving more of yourself to this audience and mining new material and crafting it right in front of, like, I've crafted so much new material just in front of Black audiences,
Mm-hmm.
or queer audiences, or geek spaces, in front of FOD audiences. Now you got me using it, but I mean, it's just like, um, so kudos to, like, just providing those spaces, because there's nothing wrong with comedy. Like, you got to play the game, and you're going to perform in predominantly white spaces. It's part of the job.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
It
But
is.
you need that. As a person of color, you need that room to grow.
It is. I find, and what I tell people when we do it is that it's not necessarily to create spaces where it's like you're only performing for people that are going to get you. I don't know that we're going to be there anytime soon, but what I do think it does is it kind of fortifies you for when you go into a space where it doesn't, because you still have a sense that, like, what I'm doing is working. It might not be working here, but in a global sense,
right?
It works. Or I had a really fun show, and that energy can kind of tide me over to when I go to another room in 2 nights and don't have a good time. I know that I can still enjoy this. So it's a place to kind of like come back and treat as a home base, even if it's not necessarily what you're going to get to do most often. And I think there's value in that as well.
Right. And that's what I loved about being at that space, was just the fact that I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I can just let loose. I could talk spicy. I went up there with no plan, and I was just like, it was late. It was fun. The space was dope. And I was just like, the crowd, even though I was like, it's Saturday night and it's late. I figured y'all would be tired, but y'all want to talk spicy. Let's get into it.
Yeah. And it was fun.
It's just great, because next thing you know, in a couple days, I got to do a corporate, and you
can't play around as much in a corporate. We'll say that.
Yeah, you can't. You play the hits. You play the hits, do a little bit of crowd work. Lightly make fun of the boss, and then move on.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So, but that's dope, and I just appreciate you just create. Again, just having that space for us. I mean, that's dope. Like, producing a show, do's and don'ts. I'd love to hear everyone's do's and don'ts.
I would say in terms of do's, just create a space that people want to hang out in. Like, be nice to people, be appreciative, be respectful of their time as much as you can, write stuff down, which seems like a small thing, but people don't. It causes problems. Yeah. And then I think in terms of don'ts, like, I think that even though sometimes I'm a little bit hard on the Boston comedy scene and on the comedy scene in general as a whole, like, it is very possible to work with nice people. Like, don't work with shitty people if you don't want to. And it's avoidable. Like, people treat it like it's not. It's absolutely avoidable. So just, like,
it's so avoidable.
Don't work with shitty people. Work with cool people.
Especially in a scene this vast.
Mm-hmm.
It's where we're at. It's a solid region. Like, you can. There's people I haven't seen. Like, and I'm not even talking about shitty people. I'm just saying there's the homies I haven't seen. I ain't seen them in a fortnight. I haven't seen them in a whole equinox has passed since I last seen them. So it's just like, damn. And but that's just how. But that's something I'm extremely kind of fortunate about, because you get a chance to really, like, oh shit, what have you been up to? Let's hang. You know what I mean?
It is, yeah. It's been, like, I am very much the type of person that, like, if left to my own devices, I would be in the house all the time and it would not bother me a bit. And to be able to kind of have something that drives me out of the house and can put me in front of people that I really like spending time with, like, I'm too old to be going out for no reason. I don't have that in me anymore. So
Come on.
Just pick cool people that you would want that are worth leaving the house for.
I like that. Pick cool people that are worth leaving the house for. I mean, if you're listening right now, I know you felt that in your soul.
I sure hope so.
We are the sum of the people. What, the 5 people that we spend the most time with? Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. So does my dog count?
Absolutely.
Okay. Fair. I mean, all right. I'm doing okay then.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I'm doing all right then. What about you?
We're doing great.
How's your 5?
My 5 is good. I've been, again, like really lucky that like the people that I co-produce with and work with the most often are just wonderful people that care about being good at this and care about being good at it in a way that is also good to people. So like, what more could you want?
Hell yeah. All right. So now that you finished, the project and everything, the special,
mm-hmm.
What is your next plan?
What's next? That's a great question. So in the immediate future, I got selected to do a writer's residency in Williamsport, Pennsylvania.
Come on, let's go. Congratulations.
So it's the St. Nell Humor Writer's Residency for women. So I will be there for 2 weeks just to work on comedy. So I have a couple bits that like I cannot crack. And I'm like, I will come back from Pennsylvania with this bit cracked. I will do it. So I'm going to do that. And then I also have a spec script that I want to do. And I just need to sit and have nobody bother me and write it. So I'm going to do that there as well.
See, I envy you so much. And that's first of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
That's super, super awesome. And I'm with you. I have like dreams of just me getting a Airbnb or a Verbo
mm-hmm.
for like a week. And I just, I go to the general store, I load up, and I just like do not leave that cabin until I have the next great script.
Mm-hmm.
And I think about it intimately. What's wrong with me?
I want that for you. You gotta do it. You gotta do it.
Okay. Well, we'll see what happens. When you write, are you one of those where it just comes in increments, or you just have to shut yourself completely down? Or
I am not a write every day person. I never really have been. So frankly, I think like that 2 weeks of writing every day, like that's going to feel a little bit out of the ordinary for me. But I also am like, I've talked to my job, like I'm not going to have a whole bunch of other stuff to compete with, and they're cool with that. So I think just being able to say like, today it's this bit, just get on the floor, map it out. And then like, whenever I finish that, then the next bit will be like, all right, you know what you want the script to do. You've laid the beats out, just write it. And putting all the tricks and incentives that I need for myself, most of them are snacks, in the way to kind of like keep me moving. All of that I think is going to be a part of it. But yeah, just having that time and like things that I know that I want to work on, it's going to be a fun challenge to kind of just be like, this is the time you have. No better time than now, and that's what it is for. So just like go forth and do it.
I mean, it's official. It's got like a whole title. It's got like you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like a retreat. You probably should you should probably work on comedy.
Since I'm here.
Like since I'm here, I guess, I guess I'll write a new special in 2 weeks. You'll do it. I believe in you.
Thank you.
You like, all right. So, who would you say are your influences, your comedy influences coming up, or just like when you?
Gosh. So I mentioned Rob Delaney, who is like a really good, like just humor writer. Really evocative writer. I don't know if you've read his books.
No.
I mean, like he does stand up and like wrote Catastrophe and has done a whole bunch of stuff. He's wonderful.
I met him. He left his wallet at the Village Inn in Salt Lake City and had to tweet me and like, yo, can you tell them that, like, it was a whole.
You got a tweet from Rob Delaney? He's so good at Twitter. That's an honor.
I know. Well, like it was so weird, but this was like it had to be like 2014 or something. And I was like, and I remember just like, cause he was in Salt Lake, and I look at my Twitter, because we all went, I didn't open for him. I don't know if I was on the show or not, but like we all just went to hang, and he left his wallet there at the place, and he DM'd me, and I was like, what the? I'm like, what? And it's 2014, so getting a tweet from Rob Delaney in 2014. That's like that's kind of. I was like, oh, have I arrived?
That's a flex.
Yeah, but it was then. But then I was like, oh, it's for his wallet. I'm like,
listen,
just like,
say less when you talk to people about it. Say less. Just like, Rob Delaney DMs me. No further questions.
Yeah, it was 10 years ago. Yeah,
there you go.
He DM'd me, past tense, whatever.
Perfect.
But that's dope. I mean, so he was one of your influences. I'm sorry.
No worries. So Rob's definitely one. Roy Wood Jr., incredible,
classic,
so good.
Had him on the show.
The loveliest human ever, right? Like incredible, so great.
Roy is one of those people where I'm like, you don't need to do this for me.
Yes.
And then he'll do it.
Yeah.
I was shocked to have him on the show, and I was like, dog, you need to do this. But he invited my brother on his show. Just
wow.
A wonderful human being. I wish that dude so much success.
I'm like, again, like to the point of like working with nice people. Like I want him to be the most famous person on earth, and he is good enough to do it. Like I want that so badly for him.
He's in his bag right now. It's crazy.
I'm like,
it's crazy.
I'm like, give him the Daily Show. He's ready.
Come on,
give it to him. He would be amazing.
Let's pray on it. So I'm gonna rub Lord Stanley and just say
yes. That's how we get what we want. All right, so Rob, Roy, I think in terms of like delivery and like writing and like, it is not in my sensibility. I don't think to have like ease in joke delivery. Like I'm comfortable with it, but like ease is not really in my nature. So somebody like Dulce Sloan or Janelle James or Naomi Kerrigan, I'm like, I envy and admire that smoothness so much. And like, gosh, they're, again, another 3 people. I'm like, Janelle James is finally getting there, but I was like, all right, get the other 2 like up there because they're amazing.
Right. It's so dope to see where Black comedy is going right now. Mm-hmm. It's just so dope because I think people are realizing like it's just so many different versions of us. And it's so fun to see that. It's so fun to see there are different flavors, different styles, and it's not just what some people thought it was in 1990.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's not, we're more quirky than you think. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
We're having a lot of different experiences. So whatever you thought it was, it's so much bigger than that.
And I think it's just, especially what I enjoy is like, as a Black comic that started comedy in a predominantly white area and still doing comedy in a predominantly white area, it's like like Black comedy in these areas has a different tone, you know, and it's being around peers like you and, you know, and a lot of the comics in the scene have just helped me find my voice. So I thank you. Like, I remember when I was working with you on that Zoom show, I was like, this is just dope to, you know, see people do their thing. And so, and just be, you know, just be us. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but I know you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. It's just, there's a sense of having to live up, and especially because that was like a corporate show. So you kind of have a sense of like, what do these people think I'm going to say?
Yes.
And then being able to just kind of sit in, nope, I know what I came here to do. I don't care what they're expecting. Like that's it's a tough line to have to walk. And I don't know that people always realize that we have to do that. Is like, you're doing what you want to do, but also kind of managing an expectation that a lot of people who are in that majority don't have to think about. Like they're not worried. Well, I think for any number of reasons, they're not worried about if they're relatable or not, but we have a different challenge, you know?
Yeah. And I think that's what makes it better. That's what makes us better. Like I sleep well at night because I think I'm comfortable going up in front of any audience because I'm like, if anything, Utah, or not even Utah, but it was just like, I feel like where we're at now, it forces you to be yourself. Mm-hmm. You know, you have no choice but to be comfortable with yourself. Cause I'm just like, I don't know how to explain this shit to y'all, but this is just,
It's like, I don't know
Here
how
we
to
go.
explain it. I don't have time to explain it. Like, you kind of got to just go with me or else I'm going to keep moving. Like, and it's like being able to just sit in that, like, it's not easy to do and it takes a while. And I think sometimes I still struggle with it, but that is kind of a piece of it. It's just like, you kind of just got to come with me. I don't have time to explain. Like, we have to, let's go. Like, get in, get in. We're leaving. Like, come on.
And that, but I see when I watch you perform, like I see it. You're very comfortable with it's like your comfort makes everyone else feel comfortable. You know what I'm saying? Because you just and that's so much with comedy. If you can tell that the person is comfortable about what they're saying, it makes the joke so much easier. The material just goes over, even if they don't fully get it, they're like, well, this person's mad comfortable. So,
and two other people I'll shout out that are amazing at this: Jay Jordan and Matthew Broussard. Both just like very sharp, very fast, and like if you are not with them, they do not have time. Like they're just gonna keep going, and I love that. And it's not even just like they're gonna leave you behind, but it's like you'll be walking home, or you'll be doing something the next day and be like, oh my gosh, that was brilliant. And they're both so great at that. Just like having a joke that like it's a slow burn and then like the fuse will go off like in an hour or in 4 hours or in a day and a half. And I'm like,
that's dope.
Like both of them have jokes, and this is very rare for me, but they both have jokes. And then Roy also has a joke like this where I'll get mad at how good it is.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, I am. So Roy in the Black Patriotism bit where he talks about living in America, and
I played it for a coworker last week.
But like, especially the tag where he's like, and then he's like, and then Apollo Creed dies. Like Michael B. Jordan lost his daddy that day, and every time I hear it, I'm like, I am livid on the recording that audience didn't laugh harder at it. It's brilliant.
It goes over their head, and I wonder. I'm like, I
and I've told him this. I was like, I am mad for you that did not get a bigger laugh because it's so smart.
Yeah, it's living in, and it's as a person who has seen all of the Rockies and absolutely loves Apollo Creed, rest in peace. And it's just like that whole bit is perfect.
It's one of my favorite jokes ever of all time.
Yeah. So, no, that's a damn good list. That's a damn good list. And, but I'm glad that you've carved, a little space for yourself. You know what I mean? So
I do my best.
So where can people find you? What do you, anything else you want to plug that you got coming up before we get on out of here?
So I do an online show with Comedy Hub the second Wednesday of every month. It's called Pantry Raid, and we talk about snacks. We tell jokes. It's a good time. The next one is on March 8th at 8 p.m. Eastern. And what else? Well, the special's out on YouTube, youtube.com/Amma Marfo or ammamarfo.com/comedy. And I'm on Instagram and YouTube at Amma Marfo. So keep following along. Drop a note, say hello. Would love to joke around with you.
Hell yeah. Who's taking the Stanley Cup this year?
I was just talking to my ex-boyfriend about this, actually.
Me too.
We think that
Me too. Not with your ex, but
it's lovely. It wouldn't surprise me. We do think that the Lightning still have a chance for it.
Okay.
Boston is upsettingly good. Like, I don't want it to have to come to that, but it might.
I know.
I don't want it.
It terrifies it as a resident that has lived here for 3 years. This place is terrifying when it's good at sports. And the Celtics and the Bruins are great right now. And it's not annoying yet.
But it will be.
It is, but it's terrifying because there's just that angst, aggression. You could just feel it brewing.
Aggression is spot on.
And St. Patty's Day is right around the corner. So I'm just like,
I gotta leave town. Normally I'm gone for St. Patrick's Day, and I'm not going to be this year, so I gotta find somewhere else to go. It's the white purge, Jay. I can't do it. I gotta go. It's like there are no rules, and everyone is just screaming and wearing green. And normally I like green. I don't want them to ruin it for me, so I think I'm going to go see my sister in Connecticut.
Maybe I'll just do it like a early Juneteenth. Like there should be a mid Juneteenth. Like, I mean, Rip. 3 months. It's
Yeah.
You could do a. Shit, I'll just go to Atlanta or something. You know what I mean?
Do it.
Just something.
Yeah.
Just something.
Not Savannah.
You know,
they also have a really big St. Patrick's Day thing. But Atlanta, yes.
Why do you know this? Because I know this too. Oh my God. So people don't know, if you don't know, Savannah, Georgia has the number 3. If it goes number 3 in St. Patty's Day celebrations, it goes Chicago and Boston, they 1 or 2, and then the third is Savannah, Georgia, for whatever reason. Yeah. I was briefly stationed there, I was TDY there for like a month, and 2 days before I showed up was St. Patty's, and the commandant released us. He released us early. He was like, "Listen, y'all got 36 hours. Y'all come in on the neck. I'm giving y'all plenty time to recover and get home safely." And I'm thinking, like, it's St. Patty's Day in Savannah, Georgia. It ain't that. It's no big deal.
And yet, yep,
population triples just for that day.
So I lived in Tallahassee, so I wasn't that far from Savannah.
Oh my God!
And like, I would go to Savannah just now and again to hang out, but oh my gosh, like, nope.
I went to Wet Willie's, had that little call a cab. I had the little I got River Faced on Shit Street t-shirt.
Amazing.
You know what I mean?
It's part of the experience.
It's part of the experience. So if you're looking for a random celebration I guess this is a travel podcast now, but go to Savannah, Georgia. It's got an interesting history, and it's got an interesting history for somewhere where the first slaves were sold. That is something that I did not expect to know.
Yeah, I didn't either.
It's at Forsyth Square, which is on Whitaker Street, which was also like I had to sit with as my last. Yeah, where you're like, oh, so the first slaves were sold on a street that is my last name?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Oof. I'm going to go cry.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. that We ended this on a negative note.
Forsyth Square is beautiful. Let's say that.
It's beautiful.
Gorgeous.
And they filmed Forrest Gump there.
But the bench is not where it was. They moved it to a museum, but it's still in the city if you want to go find it.
This has been so wonderful to learn about Savannah, Space Camp, and Stanley Cup with you. This is the 3 S's.
3 S's. I love alliteration as a writer. It's fun. We're having a good time.
These are the ties that bind. I can't believe that is just that's really, it's just really cool to have that conversation with you. I appreciate you just for joining me this evening, and make sure please everyone go check out the special. It's on YouTube, damn it.
And then once you watch it, at some of my favorite celebrities, I'm very clear about who they are in my profile, and just make them watch it too. I need Vin Diesel to see this special. It is very important. So once you watch it, just tag him and tell him to watch it.
Just tell him it's for family. He'll do anything for family. He will
do anything for family. Absolutely.
He'll do it. Yeah. So check out, Vin Diesel. Check out my Stanley cousin, and just vibe with her and enjoy the nachos. Amma, seriously, thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate it. Love, laughter, much to you.
Thank you for having me. This has been a blast.
Hell yeah. Cool.